The drone manufacturer DJI gave us an insight into how they envision drone technology to be in the future through that drone DJI Neo, which takes AI tracking and self-recording to a completely new level. But just like with a lot of other new tech products in the AI space, it's quite limited and not quite as polished as we, the consumer, might have wanted. So some features work extremely well, while other features are lacking a bit of some finesse. Luckily for us, DJI has a great track record of releasing software updates to their products, which fixes many of the problems we as consumers run into. And this new update for the Neo makes it 10 times more enjoyable, since it pretty much fixes everything that we've been asking for. So let's get into it. The other day, DJI added a new offering to the DJI Neo, where you get a cheaper pair of FPV goggles called the DJI Goggles N3 with this package. This offering is supposed to make it easier for people to get into FPV flying. And I can easily see why they want that, because it's really amazing to fly FPV. At the same time, they also added a new firmware update to all the DJI Neo drones, which is what I'm mostly interested in, especially since it's a pretty major update. When I initially reviewed the drone, I said that I thought it was quite weird that it wasn't possible to record vertical footage, since the image quality from the half-inch sensor wasn't quite the best one out there. So I said I would never want to use it for recording horizontal footage, and correct, I haven't used it for horizontal footage since. Because every time I've used the footage from the drone, I've ended up cropping it into a vertical aspect ratio in my editing software. So pretty much what you do in your editing software is what's happening internally now instead. And that's why it's only in 1080p that you can record vertical footage. So it's simply just to save you a little bit of time. But in my opinion, it's very welcome. Since it's possible to download directly from the album on the DJI Fly app, it's gonna be super simple to easily throw something on Instagram, TikTok, and so on. It's a very welcome addition that I'm definitely gonna use for stories on Instagram in the future. So a very nice update. Another big deal is that you now have the ability to turn your phone sideways when using the manual control options in the DJI Fly app. It was almost impossible to fly it using the vertical controls, but now with the horizontal controls, it's much easier and really just the way it should have been from the beginning. The only issue I'm still having is that the connection isn't the best through Bluetooth. So if branches and stuff like that get in the way, it'll still lose the connection sometimes. So having the RCN3 controller is definitely still the way to go, in my opinion. And if you're using the RCN2 or the RCN3 controllers, then you also have the ability to turn on audio recording through your phone now, which is quite nice. But the biggest deal regarding audio, in my opinion, is that you now can choose to disable the built-in noise reduction that DJI put on automatically. I generally like noise reduction, and also the idea that you can remove the propeller noise from the drone. The big issue, however, though, is simply that it's too strong by default. So you just end up sounding like as if you were underwater, which really doesn't sound good at all. So I like that you can turn it off completely now, but I would have also liked to see an option to simply choose the amount instead, because somewhere in the middle is what I feel like would have been the best. So nice addition, but could have been better.
Okay, this is the natural. How does that sound? Does it sound any good at all? It's quite windy outside today, so it might get a little bit too much into the microphone, but I really hope it sounds kinda okay. And this is the pure sound, where it's using AI noise reduction to kinda make it sound better. At least does it sound better. Again, it's quite windy, so you gotta be aware of that issue, so it might get into the microphone.
Apart from the more noticeable changes, there's also some hidden improvements that's really worth knowing about. Because apart from the features that I've just told you about, and from the fact that it has gotten its tracking and positioning accuracy way improved, it also now has the ability to track you in up till 35 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 21 miles per hour, I think. But only in the follow me mode, which is quite a huge deal, especially for runners and cyclists. Before, it might have been quite hard for the drone to follow you in high speed activity, but that shouldn't be a big problem anymore, except if you're like a pro cyclist or if you go down a mountain. On November the 7th, Rainmaker from DC Rainmaker actually also wrote that he had tested the new speed to be about 32 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 20 miles per hour, which is quite a significant boost to the speed in the follow me mode. He also wrote that it's also quite bizarre that it doesn't translate to any of the other modes, so it's only the follow me mode. And I really couldn't agree more on that specific topic, because if it has the ability to get to that miles per hour in follow me mode, why shouldn't it also be possible to do that in the other modes? That's just weird in my opinion. DJI released the firmware update V01000400 on November the 7th, and here's how you update the drone. The simple way you do that is that you turn on the DJI Neo by double pressing and holding the power button on the second press. Then you open up the DJI Fly app on your phone, and then a pop-up should appear where it says install firmware. Otherwise, go into profile settings and choose check for firmware updates. This entire update basically fixed the DJI Neo for all the things that I found kinda annoying about the drone. The rest of what I find annoying wouldn't be something that can be easily fixed with a simple software update, because that's actually just the wind sensitivity and image quality, which do require some bigger and better propellers and a bigger sensor. So I don't expect them to fix that before the next version of the drone. I do, however, believe that this update from DJI is something everyone who owns a DJI Neo is gonna appreciate a whole lot. So if you haven't updated, do that immediately. This was all I had for you today. So leave a like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. I'm out.